So nobody wants to have kids anymore. Um, and I thought that I was like that in my early 20s and mid 20s. But in my late 20s and early 30s, I got bit by what's known as the baby bug or whatever. The baby bug, where you get like, you just like start adoring kids and thinking they're all cute and want to have like some of your own. But I'm not really in a position to have kids. And I know a lot of like boomers are saying, oh, kids don't have, our kids don't have kids anymore, and nobody wants to have the nuclear family anymore. That's the backbone of society, is a mother or a husband, all family. You know what I mean? Like this white picket dream. And I would like to have a wife. I don't have one. That's hurdle number one, finding a marriageable woman. And then hurdle number two is being able to provide for a family. I mean, because you gotta think, like, if you have a wife who's working like a crappy job, making only as much as it takes to cover the childcare for like a daycare or something, you might as well just let her stay home. If she's working a job that's not making enough or whatever, it would just be cheaper to have her watch the kids on her own while I go out, or the man goes out and, brings home the bones. But like, everything's just so expensive. Like, how do you expect us to have children? I want to have kids. I've wanted to be married since I was like 18. But I wasn't very good with women, younger. And I wasn't that attractive to women when I was younger. But now that I'm an older guy who, cares a little bit more about how he looks, and am better with my words and know how to talk to people, I've noticed a little bit more attention from women than before, but not like an overwhelming amount to where I could just pick out anyone I want. But it's like, it's not as easy as just like, oh, the society used to be the nuclear family, and that's what we need, and a man is established when he's married, and he'll fight and he'll thrive, and he'll work extra hours, and he'll do what it takes, and that's what we need, and we need men to provide and commit to the economy and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, I mean, this whole idea that like a man is at his best when he's married and has kids. I believe that a man can be at his happiest with a wife and children, but this whole idea that a man is incentivized to be his best self just because he's obligated to beat his own rear end, kick it in the rear, just to work and work and work and work and work for these employers that don't reward hard work. I mean, even with overtime, like I was going to make a video about this at some other point, but like how companies don't pay enough, but a lot of times they offer overtime because they're understaffed and people are underpaid, which kind of go hand in hand. You have a lot of people doing overtime if you don't pay enough. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of this ridiculous idea, because I remember I quit my job making like almost $24 an hour. And when I met some lady at another job, my last job, she said, oh yeah, if you were married or had kids, you'd never do that. You'd never do that. And I'm thinking, good. I was miserable at my last job. She was like, oh yeah, if you had kids or if you were married, like you'd never do that. That's risky. Don't ever do that. But I'm thinking, like, lady, I was a freaking slave at that last job. Like, I did not want to stay there at that job. They wanted to own me. So I was just like, yeah, I mean, that didn't compute to me, because I had been there for so long, and technically I didn't want to leave, but they just put me in a position where I was just overworked and overstressed, and they just like completely slapped me in the face with double the amount of work and told me to do it faster, which I've covered in a previous video. But to think that I would have just like bore the brunt of that for the sake of my family, I would have just been like a miserable like wage slave for these people, which, you know, honestly, I probably would have. But I mean, it's not like I couldn't even. I probably, even in that position, probably couldn't even have provided a real support system for my family. I mean, I'd still probably have to have a wife who, like, worked part-time or something. Um, but yeah, like, I mean, I would like to have kids, but I don't really make enough. These jobs don't pay well enough. There aren't really enough. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, yes, I would love to bless my mom and my dad with the title of grandparent. I want my mom to be a grandma. I want my dad to be a grandpa. But I don't have anything that would lead to that. I don't have a marriageable woman. I don't have a decent job. You know, I could barely provide for myself even with my last few jobs. It's like I'm like still living with a roommate. Like, I don't think working overtime and having the government steal my money and, you know, I don't think that would have like put me in a better position unless I just went tax exempt. That's the only way I probably could have, like, I don't know. I look, this isn't like a dig on people who don't want kids, by the way. Like, I understand why people don't want kids. I don't think you're like obligated to have kids. I think you'll be a lot happier if you have kids, but that's only if you're in a position to have them. I aspire to have children eventually. I would like to. I would like to have already had kids by now, but you know, it's becoming increasingly like a less desired thing or achievement in life for people to have in my generation, for millennials and Gen Z. I mean, I just feel like most people, the only asset most people have nowadays is not like a home or a car or something worth like fighting for. Most people, their main asset is like their time, their free time. That's the only thing we have, is like time to ourselves. So being obligated to like bust our backs at a awful job where we're treated terribly, it's not the most appealing thing in the world. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to defend the idea of like of not having kids, but I understand why people don't want kids. Even as someone who wants kids, I'm not really in a position to have them right now. Trying to think how I should wrap up this video with these final thoughts. I mean, like, I have an older brother who, you know, he doesn't have any kids. Still love him as my brother. I mean, I don't look down on him. I don't look down on anybody who doesn't have kids. Like, I get why you don't have kids, whether you've chosen not to or you're just not able to. But I don't think it's fair for older generations to look at us and say, you know, you're all so self-centered and you just want to think about yourself. And, you know, it's like, I'm not. Like, I'm not in a position to have kids right now. So I don't know what to tell you. I think it's sad that this is kind of where we're at right now, where people who want to have kids can't really have kids, and people who do have kids are like struggling. And a lot of these people who are like older want to like take away all the social safety nets for these people that do have kids, which, you know, I guess you can make a fair argument that like it might disincentivize like not having a father around if a woman gets government aid by not having the man around. I understand why you'd want to disincentivize that, but at the same time, it's like, this is all they have. Like, this is, I don't know. Sorry, my throat's really dry. Trying to think of the best way to wrap up this video, but like, I feel like my my lack of being able to even articulate my point kind of almost says it all. Like, we're not, like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? I don't really have an option right now. Like, it's not really about America is no longer about the nuclear family. It's just like, there's like, where's the opportunity for young men to, have something, to work towards something, to offer a wife the opportunity to be home with the kids. So many of our jobs are gone, and these companies are beholden to their shareholders and dividends, and nobody's like answering to unions anymore. Nobody's answering to the workforce. Nobody like protests anymore. Nobody's like fighting for like our rights or our generation. So we're just sort of like, well, if we don't have anyone backing us up in this, what do you want us to do? Like, companies aren't beholden to us. They don't answer to us. They don't pay us. They don't like I as a man, which bear with me, I'm not trying to like, be like all machismo on you. I'm just saying I as a man aspire to like provide. That's innately in me. Like, I want to let my wife stay home. I want her to work on a little Etsy business. That's like the dream. Who wouldn't want to have like a wife who's like de-stressed and just not distressed, but like she's able to relax. She's, the kid's down for a nap. She's got a moment to herself. She can do her hobby. She can, draw or do whatever. Just whatever she'd like want to do, but still stay like productive and kind of maintain the house. That's like the ideal scenario for like most kind of like traditional guys. But when you take away like a man's opportunity to provide those things, we're not as, we can't really have that lifestyle as an option when our jobs are overseas, and we don't really have any real job to go to. And I'm not saying that all women have to be some tradcon or whatever, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying like that is what a lot of men aspire to. Like, a lot of men who want to be married and have kids, they want to offer that as an option to their wife, even if it means budgeting or getting some cheaper groceries or whatever, going to multiple stores, doing alterations and adjustments to clothes at home, or you know what I mean. It's just that old style Americana, like, that lifestyle is just kind of, it's just like pretty much gone at this point, unless you like own your own trade business in the Midwest or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know really what to do or where to go. I just know that this isn't the life that I want to live. I'm taking little steps here and there. Like, I'm not going to get into it because I know people like tend to judge your steps, or they think you're delusional or whatever. Like, I don't put everything about myself out there, but I'm taking little steps that I can to, see this through. Because really, I think this whole economy just needs a big reset. And I don't mean like the WEF, like the reset in terms of like the World Economic Forum. I mean, like, we need like a real reset, like something to really, like a total restructuring of how society treats the working class, and how money is shifted around between companies, investors, and banks. And like, a lot of this is so unmonitored. I know I'm talking about something else entirely than what this video was about, but they're all relative. It's relevant information, like how money is exchanging in the hands of all the people at the top, when guys like me just want to like, I'm not trying to be a giant conglomerate owner, hedge fund, you know what I mean? Like, I would just like to have like, a job that pays well enough, or like maybe run with a business idea, or I aspire to do things. Like, here I am, I'm making these YouTube videos, I'm doing other things just to, figure something out. But I mean, it's just like, just where's the opportunity for young men? Like, I don't want to make this just about men, because I know everyone's struggling with opportunity right now. But like, when you take that away from men, like, we can't fulfill our role, at least the role that like society kind of like expects from us, you know what I mean, to like be like people who kind of prop up the economy or prop up the family, or like get involved in politics or be leaders or whatever. Like, when you take away the opportunity from young men to really step up, because people are always like, young men need to step up, and they need to step up to the plate, and they don't want to work anymore, and blah blah blah, like all these like cookie cutter, ground up and chewed out, regurgitated talking points by like older people who just don't understand like what young men are going through right now. And I can only speak from it from the perspective of a young man, but like, we're just not being listened to, we're being dismissed, we're not, you know, our opinions aren't valued, our opinions aren't valuable, we're not like valued in society, we're not considered. And it's like, I don't know what you want from us when we're not even considered or served or in you know what I mean? So that's just my own personal take on why I would like to have kids. I know I was all over the place just now. I was all over the place. But that's just like where everything goes. Like when you talk about having a family, you got to talk about the economy and housing and the dating culture. Like, the landscape is a mess. It's a complete mess. And I think people are like looking at me being currently unemployed, being like, well, you got to do something. And it's like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, like, what do you want me to do? So I don't know. I'm trying to do something, but yeah, I get why people don't want kids. I guess that's the best way to wrap up this video. I get why people don't want kids, but I don't know. I hope those people change their minds. But if they don't, I totally get it. But anyway, sorry for rambling. I wanted to make this a very like, you know, themed, succinct kind of topic, but I just had to make it about the economy, because I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, our ability as men to, you know, acquire like resources and assets, like that's part of what makes us valuable to a potential mate, or even finding a potential mate. Like this, like the dating landscape is a mess. So I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to navigate it and do the best that I can. Excuse me. I'm trying to do the best that I can, but you know, there's only so much that can be done, because it's not all in my control. And I don't know. I'm just keeping busy. I'm occupying my time and trying to stay productive. But what else can I say? What else can you do? Here we are. This is the mess we're in. And I hope we get out of it soon. All right. Take care.